Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here with the Moonchild Tarot. You might hear me coughing a little bit. I'm pretty much over what I had, but when I talk and various other things sometimes trigger a little coughing. So I'm not going to do a walkthrough of the Moonchild Tarot because it's everywhere, and it is a beautiful deck. There's no denying that. I will do a deck interview with it because that's the big question for me, is what I will do with it. It doesn't strike me as being really useful as a standard tarot deck. And even though it is kind of undeniably beautiful, there are some things about it that annoy me a little bit. That make me wonder about how useful it will be, or not even really how useful it will be so much as what is the best context in which to use it. So one of the issues that I have is the number of cards in which people are in meditative poses. So it makes some sense for the Four of Cups, although I think of the Four of Cups as being a little bit more on the petulant side than on the centered side. And I don't know that let me get out the guidebook, which is a chunky, beautiful guidebook. Cups and the Four. Yeah, how do I break out of a stagnant pattern? To me, she's not in a position necessarily of a stagnant pattern. I'm just looking to see if it says we may feel lost, hopeless, or even complacent, which may be an indication that we should consider our emotions head on and examine the roots of our anguish. It says when depression, self-pity, or sadness sink in and we retreat into our own world, our sensations and feelings can be overpowering and illusory. So I don't know if this, I mean, she looks quite peaceful here. I don't know if she's trying to provide like a negative. For example, I mean, we have in here the Four of Swords, which to me is positive and makes sense to have meditation, and that's usually where I would see in a deck a meditative pose. So I don't know if this is like positive meditation and this is supposed to be negative meditation. In any case, so there's those two, and then the Nine of Wands as meditation. I don't know if that's supposed to fix the meaning of the traditional Nine of Wands or what, but that I would not usually think of the person in the Nine of Wands as being in a meditative state. Kind of the opposite, more hypervigilant. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles, which many people interpret as patience. I don't so much, although I can see where people get that from. But this almost looks like prayer, and that is not how I would see the Seven of Pentacles. And then the Six of Pentacles is usually, I'm sorry, I didn't think I would cough quite this much. The Six of Pentacles I wouldn't I would think as being more action oriented, to be honest. That there's an active exchange normally going on in that card. So to have so many people in a meditative pose kind of prevents distinguishing the cards very much. You know, it kind of melds them into one visually. And then we have the issue of seeing double. Now I can see having a few cards, but there's like, I don't know if it's 10 or 11 cards that have this mirroring issue. I don't know that it's an issue. Mirroring technique used. It's not always perfectly down the center, but it's pretty close. You know, here these are a little bit different, so they don't have the exact mirror. But yeah, it's kind of relying a lot on one technique that gets a little repetitive, I guess, and makes the cards in which she uses that technique kind of hard to distinguish which is which unless I'm reading the titles of the cards, whereas normally I could easily distinguish the Two of Pentacles from the Eight of Pentacles. Certainly those are two very different cards. What else did we have here? So that's the Two. This is the Six of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, and I can see the meaning, the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith meaning in here. And of course, it's a different deck. It doesn't, with a different viewpoint, it doesn't have to abide by the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings at all. But if it does in part, and this is the Two of Cups, and this one is the most understandable to me, is kind of having a mirror where, you know, you're loving yourself. Although I don't think of that as usually what the Two of Cups is about. So yeah, the Moon card is still the Moon card. I think that's fairly distinguishable just because of this stuff in here. This is very distinguishable as the Devil just because of this horned figure here. But again, there's the snake here, breaks it up a little bit. These two little demon things are a little bit different. But this, again, is the same mirroring effect. This is the Four of Wands. And here there is some difference, but it's kind of clearly the same person. This may be two different people. It's hard to tell. Or it could be the same person, but two different pictures of them superimposed on the image. This is the Three of Wands. So I'm not even sure why we need two people in the Three of Wands. The Sun card, even though these people are in similar postures, they're not mirror. And I like that Sun card. The Seven of Pentacles. So now we're in this thing. And I brought this up. This was in the meditative pose set a second ago. But I don't know if you can see, but there's... So this is her here. And then she has two mirrored images of herself kind of faded out here on either side of herself. So that's why I put this in here. So we have this, which is actually the Seven of Pentacles, so it doesn't have to do with three. And then we have the Empress, which is similar in that you have two mirror images on either side with, you know, the woman also here, the same woman. And so, yeah, kind of the repetition of that technique gets a little old, and it makes certain cards harder to distinguish. And then I decided to count all of the portals. There's this huge portal thing going on here, which I think, again, is just this deck maker's view of spirituality, of the world, of mysticism, of, you know, whatever you want to call it. So you have these archways into another world, and there's a cosmic portal there behind the magician, and even the tower is kind of a cosmic portal. And here the Judgment card. You can't quite see it. What I do like, although again it's kind of repetitive, it seems like she's using the Alhambra, which I love the Alhambra. Not that I've ever been there, but the images of it, that at least that reminds me of that kind of architecture. So yes, through here you have, it seems like another portal, and then here's another portal for the Nine of Pentacles. Behind the Knight of Swords, he has another portal here. This seems a little bit less like a portal because there's kind of the same, it's just an archway. But I put her in here. This is the Two of Wands. Here there's a little tiny portal back down here that goes into another world. And here there's a portal here, and the Five of Cups. And then in the Hermit. And then, and this was probably the strangest, or the one that seems very out of place for this card, is the Page of Cups. So she's walking toward this portal, and her cup, she's leaving her cup behind. Her cup is over here. So, yeah. We're in a particular kind of universe here with the Moonchild Tarot. Of course, you have the repetition of the moon, which is very understandable, being the Moonchild Tarot. So, again, a beautiful deck, an interesting deck. I don't regret getting it, but I need to mess with it a little bit and see what I will be using it for. Alright, everybody, I will leave it at that, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.